Can I tell you something that really winds me up?
Go on.
Really, really pisses me off. And I can't say this on the radio, so I'm going to say it on your podcast.
Do it.
And I was like, that's an issue? That's an issue? Now I'm having too much fun? Like, what, are you serious?
Hello, so we're here with Sunny from Sunny and Shay. Why is everybody laughing at that?
Don't cut it out. Can I just tell you?
Well, next week, don't worry, Sunny will be introduced as Sunny from Shay.
No, but you just said Sunny from Sunny and Shay. I'm Shay from Sunny and Shay.
Oh, did I fuck that up? That'll form part of the outro. Jesus Christ. Hello, so we're here with Shay from Sunny and Shay. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me. This feels very surreal for two reasons. One, I'm usually used to interviewing people, so I'm in the front seat, whereas now I feel like I don't know what you're going to ask me, what we're going to talk about over this hour. I'm feeling very surreal about it. And two, this is called the Samosa podcast, right?
Oh, she's
Where
calling
are
us
the
out.
samosa?
So
Where are the samosa?
Generally, a few people have been in the DMs, right? We did samosas for about 13, 14 episodes.
Right.
No fucker was eating them.
What?
Yeah.
So can I just explain something? I actually came hungry today thinking I was going to have samosa. I love Indian starters. So I don't usually, you know the people that go to a wedding, right? And they can't wait for the mains.
Mm.
I'm the person who stuffs her face on the starters and then dances the whole night and then I'll have dessert. I don't eat the mains. I'm all about the samosa, pakore, aloo chaat, tikki chaat, everything. So I was like, mate, you let yourself down, Preet.
Oh, hey man, I've been letting a lot of people down. It's fine.
It's all right though. Just means we'll have to do a part 2.
What's your favorite starter?
Well,
A hard hitting question.
this year I've become vegan, and so something that's been really hard for me, I have to be honest, is giving up paneer. So I'm a lifelong vegetarian.
Mhm.
Okay, so I was born and brought up a vegetarian. So I've already got 30 plus years. I'm not going to give my age, but I've already got 30 plus years on anyone who wants to come up to me and tell me to think about the environment. I'm ahead of the game in front of all of you people.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel I should be able to take 20 more flights in comparison to anyone else because my carbon footprint is ahead. However, I have gone vegan this year. And so normally I would have said to you, if you asked me in the last decade, I would have said anything with paneer in it. Paneer
Right,
pakore, chili paneer. I loved all of that stuff. So at the moment, I do like samosa chaat or samosas,
Yeah.
which is why I was excited to be on the Samosa podcast. And guess what? There's no samosa.
It is. We used to have a plate and shit. But literally, what we were,
Guys.
we one podcast, we bought probably about 30 samosas because we were doing like 2 or 3
Okay.
episodes in a day.
Yeah.
We ended up with about 26 samosas left.
No way.
Yeah, we had to go give them out to homeless people.
So do you know? Well, that's good. That's safer. I like that.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I mean, we try,
Invite me back for your season 2 because this is going to be successful, obviously. And then make sure there's samosa, okay?
Okay, deal. That's a promise. and
Happy
that's
days. High five. High five.
We're braving the corona with the high
Can I
fives.
just say as well, I have come so prepared. I've brought my Tiger notepad. I've borrowed your pen. I'm wearing makeup, which I never freaking do. This is like a big deal for me. Usually I'm in like joggers, jumper, and just interviewing whoever and everyone. So like, I'm intrigued to see what we're going to talk about.
Shay-
So now that the interview is beginning, let's turn the page and let's see what we're going to talk about.
Lower your expectations, please.
I'm joking.
I am out of my depth here, people. Help.
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing.
No, so the first thing I'd obviously have to ask is why vegetarian for so long?
Oh, so I was born a vegetarian. So I come from, on my mum's side, family vegetarians. I think probably 5 generations or something like that. My father didn't understand. So my dad he
Carnivore.
used to say, "I will eat anything with its back to the sun," and that was very true. And I ended up marrying a man who's exactly the same. Sonny will eat anything and everything. So for me, growing up, it was a very simple concept. If I could kill the animal, I would eat the animal. I actually cook meat. So my dad used to say to me, "I don't care if you're not going to eat it. You're not going to be one of those vegetarians who goes to someone's house and starts kind of like, when they pull their face and, oh my God, I can't be near meat and oh my God, I'm freaking out." So I can cut meat, cook meat. I can do everything. I actually make a really good keema and really good chicken curry. I can make everything. But for me, it was just on a personal level. I really do love animals. So ethically speaking, I couldn't kill them, so I didn't eat them. But I think now as a vegan, I'm understanding more about the way that cows and the dairy industry, treat animals. So I think that's why I've become vegan. But Sonny, I'm sure he'll tell you when he has a chat with you about why he has become vegan.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I was vegetarian for 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, nobody ever assumes that. But yeah, I was vegetarian from 98 to 2008.
So what made you change your mind?
So my mum's pretty religious. My mum's Amritdhari.
Okay.
And so she just never ate meat. She gave up meat in 98. And obviously me being young, did the same thing.
Yeah.
So she didn't cook meat, so I didn't eat meat.
Yeah.
And then when I got to about 16, 17.
You decided to.
Yeah, my parents have always been quite chill with that. So they were never like, okay, you've got to do this.
Yeah.
So then I just eating meat.
Can I tell you something that really winds me up?
Go on.
Really, really pisses me off. And I can't say this on the radio, so I'm going to say it on your podcast.
Do it.
So,
exclusive.
30 plus years, right? My mother, bless her, when my mum came to this country, in those days, being vegetarian wasn't heard of. And they used to think you were like a weirdo if you were vegetarian. They would kind of look at you like, okay, this is really weird that you don't eat any kind of meat.
Yeah.
And oh, I can hear the lift in the background. So growing up, my mum, let's say if you go to Tesco's, how long does it normally take you to do your local weekly shop?
Half hour?
Okay. My mother would spend nearly 3 hours in freaking Tesco's because she'd be reading every single label under this. Like, I kid you not, everything would be like this. And it used to wind me up. And then we in those days, there were only a couple of Holland and Barretts. And I remember one was in Harrow. So we used to drive like 45 minutes. I'm from West London. I'm from Hounslow. And so we used to drive because my mum never wanted me and my brother to feel that, we were only eating sabji, right? So in those days, there was this packet that you would buy, okay, which was like this veggie keema. It was like dried soya. You'd add water to it and you'd make these little patties to have like little burgers. And that was like our weekly treat if we managed to get that. Like, I grew up not having cakes, not having chocolate brownies, not having pancakes, nothing, because they all had unda in it. Yeah. So as soon as I hit like 16, I was like, look, mum, I'm veggie, but I don't care if there's egg in certain things because I need my chocolate brownies, man. This is just ridiculous. But should I tell you what really winds me up? I grew up my whole life like this, right? Trying to search for like amazing new foods. And my husband decides 2020, I'm going to go vegan. Bloody Burger King releases a bloody vegan burger. KFC releases a vegan burger. Pizza Hut releases a vegan pizza. I'm like, what the fuck was happening when I was growing up?
You haven't earned it, Sonny.
He hasn't earned it. It pisses me off. Like, I literally, the only two things that were ever on the menu for me were cheese and tomato pizza or cheese and tomato sandwich. Like, that was it. Right? Like, I kid you not. And now, everywhere you freaking go, it's like really winding me up. He goes vegan, and now you can get it everywhere.
Let's start a campaign.
Just so fucking annoying. I just want to say that.
I feel like as soon as you turn vegan, you have to put in at least 15 years before you can start enjoying the nice stuff.
Thank you. So like Sonny and I, we have a 29-month-old baby Tyra. She is, so can I just share this because I think it's very cool. Sure. So Tyra turned 29 months on the 29th of February, which was a leap year on the leap day. So I had to celebrate it. I cut a cake. Yeah. I'm such a sad mum. But anyway, so baby Tyra has been brought up vegetarian. And my perspective was, and you'll be surprised at the amount of people who said to me, oh my God, your baby's not going to be healthy. And I was like, well, hold on a second. My grandmother was vegetarian and she gave birth to 5 healthy babies. We then went on to have children. My mother was vegetarian. She gave birth to, touch wood, 2 healthy babies. I'd like to think I was the healthier one, obviously. And, if for 9 months, technically 10 months, my child is growing inside me, vegetarian, and my child has come out completely healthy, then what is the issue?
What were they scared of?
Just people feel that by me not giving her meat, she's not healthy, when actually she's very healthy, Dabraka. So at the moment, Tyra is being brought up vegetarian, but she's going to have the same option like I did. My dad, he wanted me to decide. So my mum would walk out of the room and he'd be like, quick, have a sausage, have some prawns, have some bacon.
Yeah.
But then when I decided no. I was like 7. I never used to eat it, and I'd say no, I don't want to eat this. And he'd say, fine, if you don't want to, then that's fine. So when she's about 7 or 8, and she knows and understands, if she wants to eat meat, I won't stop her. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially with where our understanding of nutrition is now.
Yeah.
And like we were talking off air about the vegan documentaries and stuff, how it's actually proving now it's probably healthier.
Guaranteed by 2030, the way that we all look at smoking is the way we will look at the meat industry. I guarantee it. It's inevitable.
Ah, see, but then you get arseholes like me. So like I know the meat industry's bad.
Yeah.
But boy, that Nando's.
Yeah, but I don't see any reason why you can't have it. I just think the way that we let me be clear, I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan who's like, oh, you shouldn't eat meat. I'm not saying that. I just think you need to know where your meat's coming from. So I personally don't like hypocritical meat eaters. And what I mean by that is people like individuals in my family and Sunny's family who they won't wash the meat, they won't cook the meat, they don't want to cut it, but they just want it on their plate.
Right.
So they have no idea where that animals come from. Like I like the idea of organic farming. You know, Sunny has killed animals. He's you know thanked the animal before he's killed it and culled a
Before he's beaten
calf.
to death,
Exactly.
basically.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying he understands the whole process.
Yeah.
He respects the food. He then eats the meat. So I understand his perspective. I can't do it, but that's fine. He wants to do that.
Yeah.
I just think there's a big difference between that and what you have at the moment with the meat industry. I think by 2030 that won't exist.
Yeah, probably. Hopefully, especially for the environment and stuff.
That's why I think it won't exist.
How did you first get your start in? Obviously, for people that don't know, I think we just kind of dived into veganism.
I know. Sorry,
But
we've
like,
just spent 10 minutes. This is not going to be a food podcast, is it? I'm so sorry.
I don't know. I'm pretty peckish. I could deal with something. So obviously, for people that don't know, you first got your start in media.
So actually 10 years ago. So for those people tuning in who don't know, I'm a presenter and a broadcaster on radio and TV. But the first time I think most people saw Sunny and I was on the Channel 4 program called The Family. So it was nominated for a BAFTA. It was a fly on the wall documentary. So a lot of people kind of think it's similar to, I don't know, Love Island or maybe other, like Big Brother. It wasn't like that at all.
It was different.
It was pretty much, I would say, similar to One Born Every Minute. And the production company that made One Born Every Minute made The Family. So essentially, they just put cameras in the house and then that was it. And they recorded. You know, they didn't interact with us. They didn't tell us what to do. We just got on with our lives. And I mean, at the time, even now looking back, it was quite groundbreaking. So it was a 3-month documentary, and it was the first time in broadcasting history that you got to see a South Asian wedding on TV, the full process, a Sikh wedding as well, and then Sunny's sister was having a baby. Yeah. So that's kind of like where it started off for me and Sunny. We were in this documentary. People fell in love with Sunny's parents, and they are amazing. Yeah, and then that was it. Really, kind of got into it that way.
So I'd imagine it wasn't quite as straightforward as making a change from, I guess, essentially light reality TV, I guess, or a documentary.
Documentary, yeah,
and then going on into establishing a career in media.
No, it wasn't actually. So I, during The Family, we were doing interviews, and so Sunny and I have two different perspectives. So like Sunny's always wanted to do radio, so I should probably share that. So even like when I met Sunny 17 years ago, he was very passionate about radio. I knew nothing about radio. I had no indication on how radio worked. I didn't know any of that kind of stuff. I was working in HR in the city. So for me, I didn't really have an indication. I always wanted to do journalism. I will say that. I really did want to do that. But when we were doing The Family, I was doing interviews, you know, like about the episode and what you saw.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but Mona's just gone around the fucking thing. She was trying to be discreet, but you can see the top of her head.
Because something is beeping in the background, and you're like, "What is
fucking
that?"
Annoying, isn't
it is annoying.
It's the dishwasher that's going on.
Oh, it's gone. Yeah.
Sorry,
so I forgot what I was saying. Yeah. So I was doing interviews, and a couple of people at the BBC, which even to this day I don't quite understand, because I think I have a very Hounslow voice, but they literally were like, "Wow, we love the tone of your voice. We love the way that you talk. Have you ever considered doing voiceover work?" And I had never thought of anything like that. I didn't, to be honest, think a girl like me from where I grew up, you know, would do something like that. I really didn't. And they basically asked me to be the voice of the BBC. So I ended up recording. So, you know, like when you listen to the radio, so I was the voice of BBC Asia Network for a year. So when you tune into BBC Asia Network, and it might, you know, it might be like, it's Friday afternoon, it's Sunny and Shay, it's BBC Asia Network. So I was pretty much all of the ins and outs of all of the idents that you will hear on radio for Asia Network. So that was my first ever venture. I remember driving in my broken up Peugeot with Sunny's mum to Birmingham, like, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm meant to be doing. And, you know, so that was my first venture into radio. But Sunny had wanted to do radio. And I remember when we went to Asian Network, so basically when you walk into the BBC, they'll have a wall of like photos of all of the presenters. And so you can see who the presenters are, you know, like all of the big presenters like Terry Wogan, Vanessa Feltz. So it's kind of intimidating, right? Because you're walking down, you see all these big people, and you're like, oh my God, now shit, I've got to go in and, you know, do this interview. And so we were walking down this long hallway with all of these big presenters, all, can I say, white, middle-aged. And apart from one person, I remember Nahal was on there. And then Sunny said to me, we're going to be on this wall one day. And I was like, yeah, shut the fuck up. As if, like, yeah, whatever, mate. And he was like, no, trust me, one day we're going to be on this BBC wall. Fast forward 10 years later, we actually are, which is very cool. But at the time, I didn't think that would be the case. Yeah. So we work on BBC Radio London and BBC WM. And there was a presenter called Joe Good at BBC Radio London, who basically met Sunny and I. She was a massive fan of the family. She absolutely loved Sunny's mum and dad. She has no children, and she really felt like she brought into our family. So the final episode, the day of our wedding, which is the final episode, we invited her to the house. Typical Punjabis, come round, we'll have dinner, shole bhature, happy days, we'll watch the whole episode. And she, unbeknownst to us, used to invite us on the show. And she said to us, I think you guys are really good on radio. You should do something together. Yeah. And can you hear that background noise? It's hilarious.
Bro, I tell you, season 2,
I know.
There's going to be a proper studio.
Exactly. It's going to happen. But anyway, cut a long story short, she used to tell the BBC bosses to listen to Sunny and I when we would go on as guests. So we weren't getting paid for any of this. We used to do red carpets. I interviewed Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
And Sunny will tell you about the Angelina Jolie story, because I think even though I did it, that's Sunny's whole idea.
Right.
And yeah, so she basically was a person, like, I really do believe this. Everyone needs a champion. You need someone who believes in you. She believed in us.
Yeah.
And she got the bosses to listen to us. We did a pilot, and the rest is history.
What year was that, roughly?
So that was 2010.
So, okay. So that's
in November, it will be 10 years since we started at BBC Radio London.
Yeah. And again, we touched on it off camera a little bit. Going from that wall of middle class white people, essentially, you must have faced challenges. Like, I can't believe it was just like let's waltz in and like, they're going to champion us.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was people's first impression of you?
So I think, so when I joined local radio, I was 24 years old. I was the youngest female presenter to join BBC Radio London, local radio. And I'm really proud of that even now. But it did mean that a lot of people judged me and didn't feel that I was right for the job. But I was really lucky. See, I always think, so my father passed away when I was 16. So I always think that my dad's there, like, looking out for me. Because I feel like if I'd have come into this industry by myself, things would have been very different. But because Sunny and I, we come as, you know, a two-piece, I feel like we've been maybe a little bit more guarded because we have each other. So, you know, when we walk into meetings, people maybe are a little bit more cautious of what they'll say because there's two of us, if you see what I mean. That said, there's ample examples that I can give you. You know, Sunny and I were the first high-profile Asians to be hired at BBC West Midlands, the radio that we work for in Birmingham.
Yeah.
They broke the history. In 50 years of that radio station, they'd never had any Asian presenters daytime. And outside of London, I don't know if you know this, but outside of London, Birmingham has the highest community of Asians. So it was like, you're a local radio and you have no presenters from your own community.
Yeah.
But we weren't hired because we were Asian. We were hired because we are fucking good presenters.
I was just about to
You
say,
know?
that was one thing I was going to say. So do you think it's a lack of talent, a bias? Why was it?
I think it's really simple. I think you're going to hire what you know. Simple as that. You know, if
Right.
you walk into a room and you see people who look like you'll gravitate towards them. I think we're all like that. I've been at events where I've seen, you know, in a room you can see, you know, Asians in the corner with
Yeah.
other Asians. You can see white people with, you know, white people, black people. But it's just the way it is. So if historically an organization like BBC has always been white, that's all they're going to hire, and that's all they know.
Yeah.
You know, I've walked into meetings, and as I say, it's been in national news. It's been in the Birmingham Mail that Sonny and I are starting at the BBC West Midlands.
Mhm.
And I've walked into meetings and I've been told, sorry, you're in the wrong room. Asian Network's that way. And I'm like, I'm your presenter, right? My photo is on the wall and you still don't know that I'm your presenter. Does that make sense? Like, that's just ridiculous.
That's just bad.
Right.
Man.
So I've been in meetings like that. Sonny's been in meetings where we've been told, oh, so you've been hired to bring on the Asian crowd and listeners for the station, then have you? You know, but it's like, no, actually, we're completely mainstream presenters. We play no Asian music, you know. Sonny and I have interviewed everyone from Angelina Jolie to Bradley Cooper to Simon Cowell to Amanda Holden, any of the mainstream names that you will know, David Walliams, anyone that goes on Radio 2 or Radio 1 will go on local radio.
Yeah.
And the two biggest local radio stations in the country are BBC Radio London and BBC West Midlands. So they're talking to us, whether they want to or not, they're going to talk to us. You know, and I'm really proud of that, actually.
Do you reckon attitudes are changing?
I think people are being forced to change. I don't necessarily think people, like I said, if you are comfortable in what you're doing and everything works, why would you want to change it? Right? Why would you change it?
Yeah.
It takes things like Oscars So White and BAFTA's So White, which, by the way, BAFTA's So White has happened more than the Oscars, and yet we always ram on about the Oscars. We're too busy looking at America. We don't realize how bad we are in this country when it comes to representation and diversity. So I kind of feel like it takes, you know, what you guys are doing, things like this, to things like what Sonny and I are doing, to show that we are worthy, we're capable, and we're actually really bloody good at it.
Yeah.
You know, Sonny and I won the presenter. Sonny, what's the award called? I can't even remember the award. That's so bad. Oh, that was it. We won Best Personality Presenters at the New York Radio Awards.
Right.
So
that's a big deal.
That's a huge deal. We're the first Asians in this country to win that.
Mm-hmm.
We happen to be Asian, but that's a mainstream award. Over 30 countries enter for that. And we went to New York last year to accept that award for our personality presenting at BBC West Midlands. So I think doing things like that shows that anyone can do it. You just got to, you know, push yourself and kind of push down those barriers.
Do you feel like the responsibility of being trailblazers, or is it something where you're like, okay, cool?
I've never seen myself as a trailblazer. Something that really irritates me about our community, and I love, and I've said the wrong thing. No, I love being Asian, right? And I love being a woman, and I love being Punjabi. But I have to be really frank with you. In and amongst all of that, the first thing that I am is British. I really bloody love being British. You know, I have a real British identity, and I'm really proud of that. Right. But I think this is a mix of being British and being South Asian. Something that irritates me about our community specifically is we don't celebrate ourselves enough. Yes. Right? We don't shout about what we achieve. Yeah. We are so easy to say, oh, they did that. Oh, you know, but we never say, wow, well done. And so I feel like by me talking about the awards that Sonny and I have won, by me talking about being the first at something, is not being big-headed. It's actually acknowledging that I have sacrificed a hell of a lot in 10 years. And in order for Sonny and I to be on the radio at the BBC for 10 years, we must be doing something right. Yeah. Right? So, but I always find that in our communities, we should celebrate our achievements. If no one else is going to shout about it, we should shout about it. Yeah,
I'm 100% with you. And part of the reason that we want to do something like this is that we all thought that creatives in our community don't get given the credit creators from other communities are given. So you have people in America, like Hollywood and shit, where people are like, oh my God, tell us about your story, your struggles and all that. Whereas in the Asian community, like when I was a kid, like, and I was like, okay, cool, I want to be a comedian. You couldn't just go up there and pick up an article about somebody and read, oh yeah, my parents said don't do it, or like my community said don't do it, but I did it anyways. And you never had those like in-depth sort of, this person made it, like look at that. Even in our like Asian like
I love
media
that
stuff.
But it's also like there's always this one blooming stereotype which really annoys me, which is as a woman, it's like, oh, your parents didn't allow you to do it. Now let me be clear, there will be individuals who have been through that, but I didn't come from that family. I came from a family where my mother and father got me the best education. I have 2 degrees and I was told to go out and get what I wanted. My mother was the first woman to get a degree in her village, right? So I didn't come from a background where I was suppressed or oppressed or told not to dream. I was told, go out and do it and achieve as much as you want. So like, I remember when I was, how old was I? 16? No, 15? My dad died when I was 16. Yeah, I was 15. I've come home and you could get careers advice in school.
Yeah.
And so I went to a girls' convent school, and the teachers would kind of encourage you to what they thought would suit you. But I came home and I was like, right, Dad, I got 2 options because I'm really, really good at history, and I'm really, really good at social sciences, and like there was a lot of things that I really liked. And I said, so here's what I'm thinking: either I do law or I do journalism. Which one do you think I should go for? And because I really did respect my father's opinion, and my dad, I'll never forget this. My dad sat there, and my dad used to smoke. So my dad's smoking, and my dad's like, okay, and he just like looked up the air, and he turned around to me and he said, "Do journalism." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was really shocked that my dad said journalism, and I said, "So you sure do journalism?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "There's too many Indians in law. We need more Apnea in journalism."
Yeah.
Like, hello, my dad told me there's too many brown people in law. We've got enough of the solicitors, baritors, and lawyers. Go into journalism. We need more people like you. That's the household I came from. So for me, I didn't grow up with this kind of idea of having to break down barriers. But what I did understand, and what my father used to say was, my father purposefully sent my brother and I to predominantly white schools. So I was the only Punjabi in the whole of my school. I was one of 4 Asian girls in the whole of my school. I went to Gumley House Convent School, and my brother had the same. And when my mother was really upset with that, because when I used to get on the bus in my brown uniform, all of the kids would be going to Heathlands and be like, why the hell is she, like I had a big jura, why the hell is she going to Gumley? And my dad always used to say, the world that you live in, people don't look like you. So you need to grow up in the white world that we're living in, and you need to understand that community. And going to a predominantly white school meant I understood. So when I went to university, whereas all the other Asian kids would all be in the corner in the library, I'd be chatting to everyone because that's all I knew. And so I actually understand what my dad meant back then. We really need to integrate. Sometimes we close ourselves off a bit too much.
I think so. I think that criticism can definitely be made of like the generation before. But I think now people are trying to open up a little bit more. But I feel like that comes with its own challenges though. So it's like I went to a school that was predominantly white, not a lot of Punjabis and stuff. But then I went to a university where it was completely
really
flop. Yeah,
okay.
It was like just Asians fucking everywhere. And I kind of understood Brexit after that. Like, bro, there's a limit, okay?
Yeah.
But I feel like both of those things do come with their challenges, and then you sort of become this like third culture person that can sometimes be quite hard to break out from. But I think ultimately it ends up being good because you have two cultures.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really nice when we get to interview people, and Sunny and I can just interview someone like, I don't know, David Walliams, and we're just talking to him as a British person. But then I always love the fact that I can bring in, or Sunny can bring in, that South Asian element. And the amount of times we've interviewed people say, oh my God, I would never thought of that, or I never, the kind of questions that Sunny and Shay ask, someone else wouldn't ask, because we have, like you said, there's dual identities. So I always love to draw on that. I think it's a good thing. But the people I interview, I never kind of look at them as you know, okay, that's a white male middle-aged person. I just think here's a person, they want to talk about their film or their book or whatever it
Yeah.
is, and they're three-dimensional just like I am, so I try to relate to them more like that.
It's like breaking away from that identity politics, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just like trying to understand who the person is rather than categorizing them and boxing them into white, British.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Speaking of dual identities, religion. Religion's a big topic in your life, isn't it?
Yeah, so I don't think I'm religious, I'm spiritual. But I am born and brought up in a Sikh family, but my dad believed in Jesus Christ. So I'm Sikh. I've always said my way of life is Sikh, but my religion is Catholicism.
Right.
But that just sounds really complicated. Basically, I'm Sikh and I'm Christian.
Okay.
So I have both faiths in my life. So in my house, I grew up with a painting of Jesus Christ right next to a painting of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So I just thought everyone was like that. Like I literally thought everyone was like that.
Yeah.
You know, so like I do practice Lent. Right now I'm practicing Lent. You know, I do go to church just like I go to the Gurdwara. So when I celebrate Christmas and I say Happy Christmas, I actually mean Happy Christmas. I'm not just putting a Christmas tree up.
Right.
You understand? So like my father sadly died on Easter Sunday. So I think maybe that was a bit more poignant for me. But like growing up, I saw my father wear a gara and a cross on his neck, you know, up until the day he died. So I just always thought everyone, I genuinely believed everyone was like that.
How do you reconcile the two things?
I'd have no issues with it. It's like my daughter was baptized at the end of last year. She was baptized at the same church that I was baptized, at the same age and at the same punt as well, which I thought was really cool.
Right.
And my Puaji, like, so all my dad's family, they were all completely Sikh. But as I say, my dad believed in Jesus. My Puaji was like trying to explain to everyone, ida pure na sing sega, but Jesus no manta sega. You know, he was Sikh, but he believed in Jesus. Yes. So it's like really, I just think everyone's faith is personal to them.
Yeah.
And I feel if you're a good person and if you, you know, understand morality, then I think you'll be fine. Like that's what I genuinely believe.
Yeah.
So I'm not really someone who, you know, I don't go to church every single Sunday, but then I don't go to Gurdwara every single Monday, if you see what I mean. But I do say that I'm completely Sikh in my philosophical way. I believe a lot in humanitarianism, in seva, the way that Guru Nanak Dev Ji taught us.
Right.
I can read and write Punjabi. So, you know, I've learned on both sides. Because I had two faiths, I felt like I wanted to know more about those faiths. So I have a master's degree in all world religions because I really wanted to understand what I was being brought up with.
Yeah.
So I think other people won't understand it, but I mean, I could spend 5 hours trying to explain it, and people still wouldn't get it.
That's
so
why
I just
we
think,
bring you back for season 2.
Yeah, no, but do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I think it caused quite a lot of intrigue, let's say, within our family. My in-laws were surprised by that, but at the same time, they were fine with it. So like on Tyra's first birthday, we did it in the Gurdwara. We had a Sukhmani Sahib part. And then, you know, 9 months later, we were doing a baptism in a church, and the family was like, what the hell was going on over here? You know, but I'm very lucky. I have a very supportive husband, and Sunny's always been really understanding. Yeah. And so all those, as I say, Sunny wasn't brought up with Christianity. He respects it. So yeah,
makes sense.
It's really hard. It's weird to explain that, right? Like I don't know how to explain it. Like some people, like I've been to people's houses, and like I have friends, and they'll have they're Sikh, but then they'll have like, you know, a Buddha, you know, or they'll have like what's the elephant god called again? Ganesh. Hanuman or Ganesh. Yeah. So then I'm like, oh, so you Hindu as well? No, I've just got the idol. So I'm like, okay, you know. So to me, I would never put something in my house unless I didn't believe in it, right? So growing up, having these images in my household, you know, having a cross above my head in my bedroom and having a khanda on the other side of the room was very normalized to me. Yeah. It was something that allowed me to respect all religions. But so when I go to my friends' houses, they've just got something because I really liked it. To me, I respect that. But in my household, it meant something more. If I would have had Buddha or Hanuman, it would have been because maybe I believed in that philosophy or that way of life. Yeah. So I think it's just the way that I was brought up. It's really confusing.
No, it is really proper like interesting because it's just like, so obviously my household's completely just Sikh. That's it. Yeah. Nothing else. And to be honest, like I studied RE and shit, and like I do take a interest. I fucking laughed at that. I study RE and shit, innit?
Yeah, I did too, by the way.
But I do I do take an interest in world religions and stuff
Yeah.
and all that as well, just
Yeah.
like personal life. I've never like kind of even considered them to be like akin to Sikhism because the way I was brought up. So to me, it's really fucking interesting how you've got the two. Like you're just like, yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, look, as I say, I was part of the choir and I used to do kirtan. So I used to take part in national competitions to do kirtan, you know, with the Gurdwara. So my week was every Tuesdays I had Vajja class, Punjabi class. Every Thursdays I had Vajja class. And on Friday nights we used to do Simran all night and chips and beans as well in the Gurdwara. And then on Sundays I used to go to choir. So that's all I grew up with.
All I'm saying is you would drop a fire mixtape.
Yeah, yeah. But like literally that's what, so I loved, so music was a big part of it. So for me, music is like it feeds my soul.
Yeah.
You know, so whether I was in the choir or whether I was doing my kirtan, whatever it was, that's, I think maybe it's not about religion for me, as I say, it's more the way of life for spirituality. So I think it's a little bit different. I'm not looking at, you know, I could sit here and criticize the Roman Catholic Church, and I absolutely will because of the history. Specifically around abuse and child abuse and even female abuse, which is never talked about.
Yeah.
But what also does frustrate me is when you talk about Gurdwara, you know, there's a lot that's going on politically there, which is also very difficult. So I prefer to remove myself from all of that and say that I don't want to be judged as this massive representative of religion, which is why I always say I'm British Punjabi. I never talk about my religion. This is the first time I'm doing it, to be honest. I've never talked about it. Yeah, I've never talked about it. And I just say I'm a spiritual person.
I'm kind of with you on that. So it's like I never class myself as like a Sikh comedian. Ever. Because it's like I always kind of feel like religion, you know, like it'd be weird for me to be classed as, yeah, I'm a Sikh comedian, I'm a Sikh comedian. Then I'll go on stage and I'm talking about fucking or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, how do you reconcile those two things?
Yeah.
You know?
I think also I always find it really interesting because usually, like my best friend, she happens to be Hindu Punjabi. But I always find it really interesting because I feel like if you're Hindu or Sikh, you'll probably just say you're Punjabi or you're Gujarati. But if you're Muslim, then you will always talk about your faith first. So I think it depends on the individual.
Yeah.
I think it really does depend on, you know, I've got a really close friend who will always say, if you ask them who they are, she will always say, I'm Muslim. That her religion is a paramount part of her identity. After that, she'll talk about being Pakistani and then maybe being British. But for me, my religion is down the lower pecking order. You know, I'm happy to talk about being British because it's a big part of my identity and being Punjabi, but my religion doesn't, it's more personal to me. I think.
Oh yeah, I think it's a personal choice because I've got friends who like the first thing would be I'm Sikh. That's it. That's where it ends.
Yeah.
But like I guess for people like us, we've kind of made that choice of on balance, I'm probably more Punjabi than I am Sikh. Like,
yeah.
You know, so.
But like as I say, it's my spiritual journey is personal for me.
With you.
But at least now Tyra gets two options, right? So if when she's really old, she's 101 and she passes away and she goes and knocks on the door, she's got the Sikh side covered and the Christian side. So depending on one way she's getting into heaven. That's what me and Sunny always joke about.
St. Paul's just out of heaven. He's like, "Are you sure you're up here?"
Yeah. I think you need to go to the other door for the other guru. Guru door is that way, or Jesus Christ door that way. So that's what. So me and Sunny see the funny side. But I'm so thankful that my dad's family are in my life because when I used to talk to other people, I found it very hard to explain. And over the years, Sunny really helped me kind of accept that it's okay. The way that I was brought up was fine for me, just like the way anyone else is brought up is fine for them. But when Sunny will go to like my dad's family's house, like my Baji, he wears a pug, you know, and he even talks about the fact that we used to go to church and go for Sunday mass, you know, for Christmas. And so I've now realized that my family are Kenyan. And so I've realized that a lot of my family's journey was because of being in Kenya and being Kenyan Punjabi. So I just think that's my family. That's how we do it.
All families are like,
we all have that. So, but I found that very hard. In the beginning, I used to find it very uncomfortable to talk with family members or people about my upbringing because I realized as I got older that it was a bit odd to have two religions, you know, I genuinely did.
Yeah, I can
and I felt really humbled when a very close friend of Sunny's, she's Punjabi Sikh and she married a white guy, an English guy, and he's Christian. And so they both asked me to be a godparent to their child.
Yeah.
And I thought that was beautiful, but they said it was really because they realized that their son was going to be brought up with two faiths, just like I was. And so I think, it's possible. I think I'm an all right, well-rounded person, even though I've got two faiths.
Nah, you're all right. You're
I think
fine.
so.
Don't
I think
you
so.
worry about
But you'd
it.
be shocked. It puts people off. I've
can
had
imagine.
conversations that, no, seriously, they're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You're baptized. What do you mean you're baptized? Like, they really find it offensive.
I can't say I know anybody who's like bi religion, I guess, but I do know biracial people like Punjabi and white or Punjabi and black, and they've always I'm always astonished to hear their experience.
Like, shall I tell you something that's so funny? And I'm not naming who it was. It was more controversial, okay, that we as a Punjabi couple had our daughter baptized than it was that a certain family member who's Asian married a white guy. What? We thought that was right, Sunny. Would you agree with that? Wasn't it more controversial, the fact that we had our child baptized, than the fact that actually it made all of these individuals that we know go, no, we're Sikh. No, even though they're not, right? Yeah. They have cut hair, they eat meat, they drink alcohol, all of that. But no, we're Sikh. And it felt, I think to them, they felt it was like attack on their faith, which I wasn't trying, as I say, my Babaji, my Guru, I don't want to disrespect anyone. That's really important to me. But at the same time, I don't feel like anyone should dictate what I feel is right for me and for my child and also my husband. That's between me and my husband. But wasn't, Sunny, that was true, right? Wasn't it more controversial, the fact that we had our child baptized, like it kicked off massively, yeah? And we were like, hold on, we've just been at how many weddings where like, an Asian has married a Gora, or Asian married a Zagala, and they're like, ha, tika. But us baptizing our child is a massive issue for you. When all we're trying to do is bring her up to be what? A good person. If you look at the 10 commandments, don't kill anyone, don't steal, don't commit adultery. Like, it's basic human stuff.
All I'm saying
that was like really controversial for people.
Fraud is a fundamental Punjabi staple, okay?
Right?
Like mortgage fraud. Like, she needs to learn these things.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It is weird. But how do you find like being a mum and having your schedule? I know this
Sunny
is like a complete...
No, it's fine. So Sunny and I work. We're very proud of the fact that we have 7 shows on 7 days on the BBC.
Mad.
Yeah, which means we put all of our efforts into that. But alongside that, I'm actually the Deputy Festival Director of the Asian Women Festival.
Right.
And so that's become a bit of a passion project for me. And I think you guys should get her on your podcast, actually. Shani Danda. She's like my best friend. She's a disability rights activist and she's a founder of the festival. And so she just brought me on to host last year. It's the first time that the country's ever had a festival like that. And so that's taken up a lot of my time alongside the radio work that I do. So work is very busy. And then I'm a mum as well. So it's really nice. I enjoy it. But again, very surreal. I've had people kind of, comment on, the thing, like I've heard things like, they'll never say it to my face, but I'm in the room and they're like, I could never leave my child. I can't believe, kidda jandi hai. People really judge you. It's really shocking. And I just think, well, hold on a second. My mother worked 3 jobs a day, 7 days a week. Right? To make sure that if I woke up in the morning and said to my mum, I need £50 tomorrow, that money would be on the table. If I said to my mum, I've got to go on a school trip, that money would be on the table. You know what I mean? My mother did everything to ensure that I got everything I needed and wanted. And so now when I'm at an opportunity where I can work, but not 3 jobs a day, you've got an issue with that. Like, I find that so shocking. I can't understand that. I can't understand. I speak to Sunny's mum and Sunny's dad, who I'm so inspired by. They used to work 4 jobs, 5 jobs, They used to take their kids with them to make sure that they kept a roof over their head, that, all 3 children were fed, educated, everything. And now when we don't need to work like that, but we're still able to, build a career, people are like, oh, kudi nursery jandi like literally they keep saying, I've heard people saying, I can't believe you put her in nursery at 4 months. Oh my God, like, don't you want to be around your child? And it's like, excuse me, I have full respect for mothers who want to stay at home 24/7 to look after their children. But again, it comes down to upbringing. I was never brought up like that. My mother worked every freaking day. Yeah. So that's all I know. I'm a workaholic.
And you don't want to raise a clingy kid. Like,
no.
Come on.
And I'm not. And it's not in my bones. Like Sunny and I have talked about this. It's not in my bones to be a stay-at-home mum. I don't wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to change 50 nappies today. And, you know, oh, wow, today I'm going to bake 5 cakes and I'm going to make aloo puriyan and chole bhature. I can cook, but it's not like this thing of like, you know, some people love doing that. And I love that. Like I always say, I live with Sunny's mum and dad, as does Sunny. Like we live with our in-laws. And I always say I'm the sous chef to mum, because mum has such a passion. You can say to my mum, right, this is what we got, these are the ingredients. And mum will be like, you can see her eyes whizzing around as to what she can make. I don't have that. I'm not excited by it. I'll do it, but I'm not like, oh, wow, that was just the best thing ever. You know, so for me, my work feeds my soul. Yeah. And so I want my daughter to see me happy, because then if mummy's happy, she's happy, right? Yeah. But I've been really shocked. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect for people to judge me and kind of, and also, can I just bloody say, no one says anything to him. Has anyone ever said anything to you? No, never. Sunny, right, can I just explain this? Sunny could be out all weekend, right? Yeah. And no one will be like, oh, Sunny kithe gaya? Where's Sunny? What's he doing? Where is he? No one will say any of that. Yeah. I may go out for 2 hours for a quick catch-up coffee with a friend, and all of a sudden, where's Shay gone? Oh, so you're looking after Tyra, are you? Oh, and it's like, can I explain something? It is also his bloody job to look after my daughter. It's not solely my responsibility to, you know, do everything for my child, although I absolutely want to and I will, but it's okay if I need to go out and do something for myself. Like I learned how to swim last year. I've wanted to swim. I come from a family of swimmers. Like this is major for me, people. Major. I'm the laughing stock of my whole family. I can't swim either. But really? Like my dad learned how to swim in Kenya. Know, right? Seriously, this is a major thing. My dad learned he was born and brought up in Kenya. So he used to like dive into rivers and, you know, that's how he learned how to swim. So he thought it was so dumb. He used to be like, this water is stagnant in this pool. It's not going anywhere. It's just there. And you still can't fucking swim. What's wrong with you? Like, he didn't understand it. So I've been the laughing stock of my family. So last year, I finally learned how to swim. And I'm so proud of myself. Like, I really recommend it, people. Everyone should do it. But, oh my God, every week, once a week, I'd go for an hour. And everyone would be like, oh, so where's the baby? Who's got the baby? She's all right. She hasn't been dumped somewhere. She's with her dad. You know, like even then I will leave a checklist, right? Sunny, clothes are here. Second change of clothes are here. Third change of clothes are here. This is where the food is. This is where the other backup food is, you know, and he doesn't need any of that. He knows where it all is. So I find that really annoying. Like pisses me off when people say that to me because they never say it to him. So it's like, why are you saying it to me?
I think that's just good old fashioned sexism, isn't it?
I think so. But also I think, so Sunny and I have been together 17 years and we waited 10 years before we had Tyra. So like my puppy, I'll never, this is so funny. My puppy turns around to me and she goes, you know what your problem is, Shay? Do you know what your problem is? And I was like, okay. She goes, you're too busy having too much fun. And I was like, that's an issue? That's an issue? That I'm having too much fun? Like, what, are you serious? And because by the end of it, our family on my side and on Sunny's side had given up asking us. You know, like usually when you get married, oh, when's the baby? You know, that's like the one question they ask you. They'd given up. They were like, these two are just, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. We're not going to ask them. So they just gave up asking us. They would never ask us. And when we finally announced we were going to have a baby, so anytime we'd have any good news, right? Like I won the Asian Woman of the Achievement Award, Media Award for Best Presenter. And I'm like, I've got some news. You're pregnant. Like everything would always be, you're pregnant. You know, so they just stopped asking us and bam, that's when we dropped the bombshell and went, now we're having a baby. So that's my, yeah. Well, I think that's my biggest recommendation to anyone. When you get married, don't have a kid for the first 5 years. Unless you really want to. I just feel like you should. Do you agree with that, Sunny? Yeah. I think you just need to enjoy each other and then have a child. Like we have got everything out of our system. We've traveled, we've done work, we've done all of that. And now we have our baby. And Tyra is my life. And she is Sunny's life as well.
That's a beautiful night, man. What have you guys got coming up? So I'm conscious that you guys have got to get out.
Don't worry. I've got another 5 minutes. What have we got coming up? So I think something that a lot of people have been pestering us to do for a long time outside of radio is to do TV. So I think like the biggest frustration that we found is to do the kind of TV that we want to do. So we've been offered a lot of things, but we haven't done it because it's not right for us in terms of our brand as Sunny and Shay. So I think in this next year, you're going to see us on TV, which, is something we really want to do. But also outside of radio, the world of podcasts intrigue us. So I don't know, we'll see. I think we've been offered a couple of things by the BBC, but we're so busy with our radio, so I think whatever we do next has to be at that high quality and standard for us. I think that's really important. But let's see. So podcasts, Asian Women Festival, TV, and social media, it's all happening. Just figure it out.
And raising a kid.
And I was going to say, we're not looking to have a kid anytime soon. We've got one.
Oh no, I wasn't going to go full blown.
You're going to have it now, number two. That's what Ani said to me at our wedding. Okay, number 2. I was like, I've just had the first one. What's wrong with you, man? And my body's just recovering, right? I'm just at the point now where if I cough, I won't pee. You know what I mean? Any woman who has given birth will understand that, I ain't rushing to, some people can have the most beautiful pregnancy, and I'm really happy for them. But unfortunately, I had a very bad condition. Right. And so I lost a year of my life. I had hyperemesis, which is chronic vomiting. So at my worst, I could be vomiting 25 times in a day, couldn't even keep a sip of water down. I almost lost my daughter twice. So because of that, when you've had such a horrible experience like that, you're not in a rush to have it again. I would love to have another baby, but probably not just yet. I think both Sunny and I are just in love with our daughter. So we're just very keen to celebrate her and, show her that women are great. And there's a lot that we can do.
And Sunny's okay as well.
He's alright, Did you know, he actually wanted this is so funny, he really wanted a girl. So when I was pregnant, I knew, I was the only person who knew. Because I was like, I need to know. I just can't wait. And he said to me, when we had our 2nd month scan, he said, right, if it's a boy, you're getting pregnant within a year, okay?
Right.
If it's a girl, you can shop, happy days, I don't need another kid. He's always wanted a girl.
Right.
Always wanted a girl. So when we had baby Tyra, it was like just perfect.
You were like, yes.
Yeah, I think for any woman when you're pregnant, you actually don't give a shit. Because all I kept praying was happy and healthy baby. That's all I wanted. Because I was on a lot of medication throughout the whole 9 months. And so every time you take this medication, the doctors say, sorry, it could be at detriment to your child. And what are you meant to do? How do you survive? If I don't take the medication, I could lose my kid. If I do take the medication, something could happen to my kid. So I did not give a flying fuck, quite literally, about the gender or the sex of my baby. I just wanted to make sure that my baby was okay. That literally was it. And just all I used to pray for was a happy and healthy baby. And Sunny could worry about the rest. But so luckily we had a baby girl, and so we're happy days.
Awesome. Brilliant. And people can catch you on all of the socials.
Yeah, it's really simple. I would recommend go to Sunny and Shay. So SUNNYANDSHAY. And you can follow us on all the social media. Instagram is what we tend to do. I've heard about this new TikTok thing now, which I'm like, God,
I'm too old for it now.
Oh my God. And now, did you hear they've got a new version called Byte? Have you heard about this? Bloody hell, man. It's just too much to keep up with. Even now, I had a friend who's called me literally today, and I was saying, Pam, and she's like, right, we need to do the photo shoot because you haven't posted anything on Instagram in a month. And I'm like, oh my God. It's just too much. I think it's way too much. So I would recommend, if you want to know about Sunny and Shay, listen to our radio shows. Listen to us on BBC Radio London. Listen to us on BBC West Midlands. We're a husband and wife who happen to be Asian. We're just a husband and wife. So anyone who's been in a relationship, anyone who is in a relationship or wants to be in a relationship will get us. And I think that's why we're lucky that we have a mainstream audience. It doesn't matter about your background. If you're married or you're single, you'll understand what it's like when you've been in a relationship. Listen to us on radio, and then you can follow us on social media. And you can listen back on BBC Sounds. Thanks, Sunny.
There you go, Sunny with the club.
You can listen back on BBC Sounds. It's really simple. Type in Sunny and Shay on the internet, okay, and it will come up.
We'll link all of your links and stuff down below,
you.
so people will be able to see that. But thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. This is the podcast. This is a lot of fun. I was so scared. Can I just say, finally, I was like, oh my God, what are they going to ask me?
Isn't it?
And I feel like the first 10 minutes, all Sunny's going to say to me is, why the hell are you talking about veganism? What the hell is wrong with you?